What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Cross and Copper EDC. As always, I'm Carson, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. If you're not subscribed, subscribe below, as well as like this video. It really helps my videos when you like them, subscribe, as well as comment to push them out in the algorithm, and it really helps the channel a lot. So I would greatly appreciate y'all doing that. Also, drop a comment below of your favorite sub $100 knife. The Robato 2 is what we'll be talking about today, and it's a great sub $100 offering that I'm excited to continue to test out. Before we get into the main topic of talking about the knife, I wanted to give you a little devotional for today. As you know, if you're familiar with the channel here, we talk about faith, EDC, and everything in between here on the channel. And yesterday we were going through the book of Genesis in Sunday school, and we were talking about Joseph. And one thing that's amazing about Joseph is how much he trusted God. And it's so evident how God is with us in the ups and the downs. So if I can encourage you today, I want to encourage you with this, that God's with you in the ups and the downs. No matter if you're on a mountaintop in life or if you're in a valley, God is with you. God was with Joseph when he was ruling practically the kingdom of Egypt, as well as he was with him when he was in prison and when his brothers sold him into slavery. It's an amazing reminder to us today that God is with us. So let's flip the camera around and take a closer look at the Oknife Robato 2. So if you're familiar with the company Olight, they have recently started making knives, and this is one of the knives that they offer. It's called the Robato 2. You can see it there on the back of the blade, and that is the second offering from the Robato line. Last time I checked, they have 4 knives in their Robato line on their website, as well as available on Amazon. Last time I checked, this knife comes in at sub $100, which is a great price for what you're getting. Now, Oknife is not directly making these knives. These knives are being made by Kaiser, and that's one thing that really stuck out to me when I first handled it. I've handled several of Kaiser's crossbar lock knives, or as they like to call it, the clutch lock. So this knife felt very familiar in the action. So if you've handled the drop bear from Kaiser is a common model, or if you're familiar with handling either the NAF's Lander 2 or Lander 3 and how those knives actuate, it's very similar. In fact, I got to handle the green micarta and, as NAFS calls it, the moon dust blade finish version of the Lander 2, and it is staggering the similarities between this Robato 2 and the Lander 2. The blade finish is almost identical, as well as the texturing, hand feel, and color of the micarta. So if you like the Lander 2 in the moon dust and micarta, but you're looking for a sheep's foot blade, this would be a perfect knife for you. It comes in at 154 cm, which is a really good stainless steel. It's as some would consider, it's a more budget steel, but it is one of my favorite steels to work with. That's one thing. I plan to do a video on a comprehensive guide for normal people on blade steels, what to look for depending on your job, what you're going to be putting that knife through. Are you wanting something you're never going to have to sharpen, or are you wanting something that's going to be super corrosion resistant? So be looking out for that video. I think that's going to be really fun to make. But my dad gifted me this knife over the weekend, and I absolutely love it. I have not had too terribly much pocket time on it, but I just wanted to do a quick overview before I continue on testing. Blade shape, the very traditional sheep's foot. It's got this nice jimping on the back of the blade. Since there's no thumb ramp towards the back of the knife, that jimping catches your thumb very well. The beautiful acid and stone washed blade with the Oknife logo. And as I said earlier, if you're familiar with the company Olight, they now are making knives, and they're called Oknife. And, you know, I was watching Duty's Daggers, and he was making a joke. He would assume that if they come out with cars, they will call them O-cars. And I thought that was very funny. But this knife has been out for a while, but this is my first time handling it. And when I tell you, if you're familiar with Kaiser's clutch lock and their axis lock or crossbar lock style locking mechanism, it's just as good as you would assume. I mean, it's super fidgety. One thing to note, if you have any experience with Benchmade's axis lock, there is a little bit of blade play when the blade's closed. But with this crossbar lock, I forget what Olight or Oknife calls it, but it's basically Kaiser's clutch lock. There is no blade play. It is rock solid. Great ergonomics. I love the way this micarta is textured. It is not too aggressive, but it's aggressive enough to where you're going to get a good purchase. I have fairly large hands. I wear a 2X to an XL glove, and I can get a full 4-finger purchase, as well as it's putting my thumb right there on the jimping for a great purchase. And I really enjoy the accents of blue. The only thing that bothers me is I wish the blue on the thumb stud and the pivot collar were the same. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on camera, but the thumb stud is slightly darker blue than the pivot collar. That's really the only aesthetic. I think that's how you say that. Aesthetic. I don't really know. I don't have good grammar or good pronunciation, if you will. But that's really my only looks critique. It's a very sleek looking knife. Lots of clean lines. And it's really been compared to the sheepfoot version of the Drop Bear, if you're familiar with the Drop Bear from Kaiser. And that is a great comparison in my opinion. This really nice, full flat, high ground blade is stupid slicey. I mean, it will eat through paper and cardboard like you wouldn't believe, and it came out of the box insanely sharp. In my opinion, one of the best out of the box sharpness I've ever experienced on a knife. And I was very thrilled with this. And I cannot wait to get some really nice patina on this micarta. A quick actual measurement. I've got my trusty dusty little roll-up tape measure here for us. The blade and cutting edge is going to come in right around 3 inches, and the total length of the knife is going to be just over 7 inches. It's a phenomenal size for EDC. It melts in the pocket. It's very light, and it's extremely fidgety. One thing I will note, it's got some of the best action of a crossbar lock that I've experienced. It's extremely snappy, and just listen to that. I love the way this knife sounds when you actuate it with the crossbar. It's so secure. There is some skeletization, if you can see in there, to reduce weight. Steel liners, which there's nothing wrong with that in this price point. And I'm extremely excited to continue to test this knife. I was sitting around, just kind of fidgeting with it after the kids went to bed last night, talking to my wife, and I said, I've only had this knife for a day and a half, and it is already one of my favorites. And I just cannot wait to continue to put this knife through its paces because I really love this design. I'm a sucker for a sheep's foot. I just think it's such a utilitarian blade shape. And really, Oknife and Kaiser did a fantastic job on this knife. And I highly recommend, if you're looking for a really good crossbar lock knife with a decent steel, good handle materials for under $100, I'm hard-pressed to say you're not going to beat this Oknife Robato 2. Check back in the channel later for more updates. As well, if you've watched to the end, don't forget, if you have not subscribed, liked, and commented, to also go and check out our 500 subscriber giveaway. We are ending it soon, so go back, check it out. I will link it up here in the video, and you will be able to go watch it, watch to the end of the video, and enter. The drawing will be held soon. So go check it out. God bless, and y'all have a great day. And don't forget, EDC is not just what's in your pockets, but it's what's in our hearts and our minds as well. So leverage all of your EDC to make yourself have the best day possible. God bless. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day.